Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is episode 364 of the Ping Pong Flix Show, and I've got some incredible lighting today. First of all, I told you about in my thank you video for the 11,000 subscribers. I got these two awesome LED lighting ever 10 watt RGB floodlights that my wife bought for me. They're incredible. You can change the colors at any time, and the box looks like this. It's really cheap. They're only like $28, and I thought I had to spend like hundreds and hundreds of dollars on this, but she said nope, it's only $28. It's actually $15 if you don't ship to Hawaii. So Hawaii shipping just increases it a lot more. And then the other thing I got was this light. As you know, it's kind of a soft light now, as opposed to I use my desk lamp from before, and it just like on my face, and you see every single pore and stuff like that. So this is a much more softer light. It's an Ubi size 8-inch selfie ring light with a tripod that extends up. I mean, I could literally put that on my floor instead. You can even change into different light settings on that, so that's kind of cool. But I mean, if you're interested in seeing what this stuff is and how much it costs and stuff, if you want to use it for your own videos, check out my Amazon store below. Check out those two links. Click on those two links and check it out. See if it's a good deal for you, and go ahead and try it out yourself. But anyway, now that I got it away, this is incredible lighting, and I want to say thank you, wife. Thank you for making it look a little bit more professional than my non-professional videos have been. But anyway, let's go on to more DCEU updates for today, and there's quite a few. There were some really factual reporting from like Hollywood Reporter and things like that, and then there are also the rumor mill mongering. But I'm gonna cover it all because you people want to know more, and I'm gonna try give you more. I'm not saying the rumor things are a fact, but there are some things that make sense when you read about them. First one up is an update on the whole Henry Cavill as Superman. And these are actually from the tweets I talked about yesterday from that fan named Roger Roken, who actually got to meet Henry Cavill at the San Diego Comic-Con pool party. He had posted a picture with him along with many fans who hashtag Superman when they met with Henry Cavill. He actually went on further when people started doing a Q&A with this fan, asking him more about Superman. And like yesterday, I'm going to repeat what he said. We asked him. He said he's interested in doing a proper sequel to Man of Steel. He thinks there are more stories to tell about Superman's character. He said he still wants to play Superman, wants a sequel to Man of Steel, wants to explore how it affects someone with absolute power. So many stories to tell. What makes him tick? He said he's still interested in playing Superman. When another fan from Twitter asked, interested? What the hell does that mean? But he is Superman? Roger Roken replied, not really. He basically dropped out of the role when he took the Witcher role last year. Superman wasn't being used in any future projects, but other DC characters were. So that just insanely, that it sounds pretty bad when he says he got dropped out of the role because he took the Witcher role, which actually makes a lot of sense to a lot of the tweets at that time. I remember Humberto Gonzalez putting up pictures of Death of Superman, meaning he's gone, things like that, and also the Boss Logic where Superman's gone, Superman walked away. So he literally did walk away because he wanted to take the Witcher role. He couldn't wait for Warner Brothers. Someone else asked, it's so weird to me. One of the world's biggest IPs of all time, and you're not using it. Can't believe that we're getting Aquaman 2, Shazam 2, Trench, Suicide Squad 2 before Man of Steel sequel. I wouldn't be surprised if we get Birds of Prey 2. Laugh my ass off. Roger Roken then replied, and that's exactly why Henry pulled out of the role. Warner Brothers had no plans to use him. It's so insane to me too. I don't blame him at all, but he's still waiting to play Superman one day. So that actually confirms a lot of our thinking that it's not the case that they're rebooting Superman. They just don't have a project. They're not planning to use Superman at all, which is completely insane. You've got your iconic people, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. They're doing Batman and Wonder Woman, but Superman, they're not have no plans at all to use Superman, which is completely insane. I mean, that is insanity. I can't believe that at all. And I hope with the new coming with Ann Sarnoff, we'll talk a little bit more about that, that maybe they'll start to wake the F up and actually go out there and make a Superman movie. So that's what's the situation about that. Makes a lot of sense. It's not that Henry Cavill is not Superman. There is just no project for him to go in on. And with that being said, he can't just wait around for them to call him. He has to go out and work. And by work, it's the Witcher role. So I commend him for that. I think that's the truth, the story for anybody who wants to go out in business. You don't wait for work to call you. You go out and find that work until they're ready for you. And so, but I just still can't believe Warner Brothers has no plans right now for Superman. I just that's completely crazy. But anyway, now to the other two people in the Trinity. First up is Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 1984 is currently doing reshoots in Warner Brothers Studios in London. I guess he's a gigantic, or he or she's a gigantic Gal Gadot fan on Instagram, and posted this today. New Wonder Woman 84 reshoots today in the Warner Brothers Studios in London with Gal and Chris Pine. And they just threw that out there. Wonder Woman News at Wonder Woman 84 HQ picked that up and tweeted that out. Now, it's not a big deal. Movies, almost every single movie, do reshoots all the time. They always schedule reshoots. It's not a big deal. Wonder Woman 1984 is a curious creature, though, because it was supposed to come out later this year, and then it pushed back towards next year, which gives them the opportunity to do more reshoots. And I think this is actually the second reshoot for Wonder Woman 1984. We've heard positive things about that. We've heard some weird things about that, which we don't know if it's true or not. And we're also hearing gigantic, enormous things about it being like a flashpoint for the DCEU. And that's what Grace Randolph has been trying to tell us. So we're still unclear how this movie and what this movie is, because we haven't even got a teaser. We haven't even got a trailer. I know people saw like 2 scenes at the San Diego Comic-Con last year, but nothing this year. They played something at the CinemaCon Europe, but we haven't get to see it. So they have a lot of time, and so with a lot of time, I'm hoping they're not just second guessing themselves now. It's like, well, since we have a lot of time, let's fix this, fix that. Sometimes, you know, it works for projects. Sometimes when you sit on something for too long, you tend to look at it too closely. And when you look at it too closely, you start to make different things to it. You start to fix it up. And when you're fixing it up, you're actually breaking it at the same time. So I hope they know what they're doing. And I really have a lot of faith in what Patty Jenkins is doing. And I've had a lot of faith in the producers as well, Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder. I'm ready to see this movie because it looks amazing just from what we saw, but I'm still curious about how big this movie is, what this movie is, and what type of movie this is, right? So I mean, they told us about it, but you don't know until you actually see footage. You actually see a trailer. You actually see a teaser. Then you can get the feel of what type of movie you're going to get. And that's something I'm really looking forward to. But reshoots happen all the time. I hope this is a reshoot sanctioned by Patty Jenkins herself, not the studio. This is not Toby Emmerich coming in and saying, like, we got to perform for the zeitgeist, people. I don't want to see that anymore. I want to make sure, and I hope that the filmmakers are fully involved and actually arrange these reshoots because they want to make the story work in a certain aspect. Maybe they forgot a scene. Maybe they're like saying, well, this scene would be better if we shot it this way. That type of stuff is okay. Nothing like, and someone joked about it in Twitter. Someone says, oh no, here comes Joss Whedon, Danny Elfman. No, I don't think it's like that. I know we're getting freaked out and scared every time we hear the word reshoots. We're on that paranoia stage after what happened in Justice League. I really do believe they kind of, for the most part, learned their lesson. They still have to rectify the last one, which was Justice League, but I think we're okay moving on forward. But that remains to be completely seen until we see the next movies, which is Joker, Birds of Prey, and of course Wonder Woman 1984. And there is another movie coming out, and it's finally getting its act together a little bit more and more, and until to the part where they actually start shooting. So I'm not really too confident until they actually start shooting, because there was so many delays on this movie, and it's the third character, the third hero in the Holy Trinity, and that is the Batman. Now, it's not Ben Affleck's the Batman. I understand, I know, but it is a Batman character in any aspect, sense of the word, and it is played by Robert Pattinson. Now, Matt Reeves, the Batman, adds Rogue One cinematographer Greig Fraser, and I hope I'm saying his name. It's Greig Fraser? I think it is. Cinematographer Greig Fraser, who earned an Oscar nomination for Garth Davis's 2016 biographical drama Lion, is on board to shoot The Batman. The Australian DP previously shot the Batman filmmaker Matt Reeves' 2010 movie Let Me In. The upcoming pick is set to star Robert Pattinson as the Dark Knight. In addition to Lion, Fraser's credits include Rogue One, a Star Wars story, Zero Dark 30, Vice, Foxcatcher, and Denis Villeneuve's upcoming Dune. It's great to be working with Matt again, Fraser said Wednesday in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter. The Batman franchise is iconic, and it's a privilege to now be able to visualize it in my own way, especially with the cumulative creative potential of all the talent and technicians we have in front of and behind the camera. Last week, reports surfaced on genre movie sites that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood cinematographer Robert Richardson was set to photograph the Batman, but Richardson denied this, telling THR that he had never spoken to Reeves. Boy, that was a bad take, a bad scoop. I even reported on, and then the day later, it was denied. What? But this is I think, just looking at this person's resume, I didn't really know him by name, but I know the movies, and I've seen the movies that he shot, and a lot of these movies look incredible. I've only seen Rogue One, I've only seen Zero Dark 30, Foxcatcher, and I haven't seen Let Me In, neither the Australian, there was two Let Me Ins, right? But I haven't seen Matt Reeves' Let Me In. But from what I've seen, from Rogue One especially, is the lighting, the color, the way he composes the shots. It looks absolutely beautiful, and I think this is a great choice. I think this is a very, very good choice, and I can't wait to see this movie, especially when he's very good at playing with shadows. I could totally see him playing a lot with the shadows involving the character of the Batman, right? Stealthing through. He can do some horror elements, and it probably shows a lot in Let Me In if I ever get around to watching that. But but if you've ever watched Rogue One and Zero Dark 30, it's got that. It's got those cool, thrilling, suspenseful elements, and I think this is a very good pick, and I can't wait to see what he comes with. I really can't wait to see when they finally start shooting this thing and actually seeing what kind of movie it is, even though he told us many times before it's a noir. But like I said, we don't know what movie it is until we actually get to see the movie, the footage, the trailer, the teaser, and actually the movie itself. But I think this is a great pick, and I can't wait for the Batman, which is slated for a June 25th, 2021 release. That's over 2 years later. We're going to finally get the Batman, and finally, probably maybe by then, figure it out if this is really within the DCEU. Is this another Black Label? Is this another Earth? Do they even care? We'll find out in 2 years from now what the dealio is with that. Now, a little bit more on some of that rumor mongering I was telling you about. This is actually coming from Comic Book News. Like I've said, they sometimes get it right and sometimes they get it really wrong. But this is an interesting conversation to say the least. Is that they're saying that they are trying to, Matt Reeves is going to be adapting in a way The Long Halloween. The Long Halloween is a graphic novel, a comic book story by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. And this one is going to be like a loose interpretation. It's possibly more of an inspiration because the Batman will feature an original story. But the type of story that this was, The Long Halloween was saying, it's very similar to what we're hearing about Matt Reeves' story, in which there's many villains, like a lot of villains. They're saying, they're listing it right here. The 6 villains currently rumored include Penguin, Riddler, Catwoman, Two-Face, Mad Hatter, and Firefly. The Long Halloween also featured Poison Ivy, Solomon Grundy, Joker, Calendar Man, Scarecrow. So they believe any of those villains could potentially show up in Reeves the Batman, depending on what type of story this is. And it's also possible, they're saying, that Robert Pattinson may be wearing a similar suit with the big ears, which appeared in the Long Halloween comic book story. But of course, there is no confirmation as of yet. This is just pure speculation on their part. And with the whole talk about The Long Halloween, I am willing to pick. I think I read that one a long time ago, but I think maybe it's time to pick that one up again to see if there's anything that's similar to this. But from all intents and purposes, we do believe this is still an original story from Matt Reeves. But you know he's probably going to take inspiration from different Batman stories, kind of like what Christopher Nolan did, kind of like what Zack Snyder did. They're always taking parts and bits and pieces and turning it into a story of their own. But seeing that there's many villains in Long Halloween, Batman's going to be interacting with a whole rogues gallery. I think it's going to be pretty damn close. So that is the Batman. We're on to the villains of the Batman, and particularly Harley Quinn and a whole bunch of other villains that make up a squad, and that is the Suicide Squad. Apparently, this is also coming from Cosmic Book News as well, so please take this with a grain of huge barrels of salt. But like I said, they've been right sometimes before, but they've been hella wrong also. But it comes into the question of how the Suicide Squad story is going to be told. According to Cosmic Book News, they're hearing that James Gunn's Suicide Squad, the point of view is going to be from the villain. Now you're thinking, like I'm thinking when I first heard that, is like, I'm sorry, the Suicide Squad, everybody in that is the villain, right? I mean, you take it from Harley's point of view, she's a villain. All Amanda Waller, she's a villain. Captain Boomerang, she's a villain. They're all villains in this, pretty much, except maybe Rick Flag, I guess. But essentially, they're all villains. This is a whole villain story. But what they're actually trying to say when you read the article, if you want to read the article, is that the point of view is from the main antagonist of the movie. So it's going to be a point of view of the actual main antagonist and the villain, which is the villain that the Suicide Squad is going to fight, instead of the point of view of the Suicide Squad going in to fight the villain. So that is a different kind of take on the thing, but they are essentially saying it's very similar to Thanos' story in Infinity War, where if you watch Infinity War, the point of view for the most part is from Thanos himself. This is Thanos' story. So this is what they're trying to explain, that the Suicide Squad could potentially be going through the actual main antagonist point of view rather than the Suicide Squad's point of view. And I think that could be work in interesting ways as well, but not to the galactic craziness that is Infinity War, but actually more of a grounded desert type operation in the Suicide Squad. So it's a different take, and I think I could welcome that as well. I really want to see how that's going to work out. I think it will work out if it's very grounded, and there's movies that have that kind of sentimentality as before. If you ever watch the first Delta Force, maybe even the second Delta Force, there was a lot of point of view. A lot of the story took place on the villain side, or for most part, it was from the victims, the actual passengers on the plane. But for the most part, you saw from one side looking out as the Delta Force came in, right? So I think it might be similar to that, where we're on this side, where the villain, the main antagonist, is doing his bad things, whatever operation is doing, and then we're kind of witnessing the Suicide Squad coming in to stop him rather than the other way around. So that's just what my guess is anyway, and that's what Cosmic Book News is also speculating. With James Gunn as well, they're also saying that he is going to come back to the DCEU after Guardians of the Galaxy. Apparently, according to Cosmic Book News, Warner Brothers they love working with Gunn, and they want him back. And James Gunn, who is actually, they're saying, is more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan, and he's just wanting to kind of finish up Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because he started that before he got fired, and then they brought him back because he needs to finish that. They couldn't figure out Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They need James Gunn to come back to finish what he started with all the story aspects and finally make the movie. And they kind of let him go again, and James Gunn is willingly leaving that so he can work on DC properties, because he has a lot of ideas for the DCEU. Apparently, he was one of the people who wanted to work on Shazam. So that's what they're saying in any case. But I'll be really surprised and shocked to see James Gunn returning to DCEU after doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3, as I remember he was supposed to be shepherding the whole cosmic universe, the cosmic phase of the Marvel universe. But maybe that's not the direction they're going to go anymore. As you've seen, they're going to Doctor Strange, they're going to Thor. That's cosmic-y, but they're also, they haven't gone to the Captain Marvel's phase and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens with that, and we'll see how it works. I think it would just depend on how the Suicide Squad performs, and also depend how Guardians of the Galaxy 3 performs. Whichever performs the best, I think that's where James Gunn will be focusing most of his attention on. So my buck is that he's going to go and do Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and continue doing Marvel movies. I really doubt he's going to come to the DCU, but hey, I could be wrong. And speaking of villains, there is still one giant villain for fandom, and that is Toby Emmerich. So Release the Snyder Cut is doing another letter campaign, this time to Ann Sarnoff, because Ann Sarnoff is coming into office in early September. They're still aiming to send letters out to Ann Sarnoff in early September, but they posted this today. This is a link to the Snyder Dollar Bills PDF file for everybody to start printing it out, and so that when they send their letters, they can stuff that letter with these Snyder dollars, these Snyder bucks, if you will, to show Warner Brothers and Ann Sarnoff how much you're willing to spend on the Snyder Cut. So this is their new letter campaign in early September. They just want to remind you that they're starting off with this. They want you to start out on this, start writing those letters, start printing out those Snyder Dollar Bills, start stuffing those envelopes, and when the time comes, when they release the signal, if you will, of to send to Sarnoff, we will do exactly that. Post a stamp on it and shoot it out, and hopefully flood her desk with Snyder bills and letters, pouring lots of love to Ann Sarnoff, to Warner Brothers, that we encourage them and we want them to release the Snyder Cut of Justice League. And they're also hinting that something else is coming. They put out this little picture today of release the Snyder Cut. It does look very much familiar to me. I want to say it's almost very New York Comic-Con-y to me. So, wonder what that's about. But hopefully we'll learn more as the days go by, as we get closer to the next Comic-Con and get closer to September. Well, that is it for tonight. I want to thank you so much for subscribing. I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.